Have you ever felt like your job is devouring you alive? That feeling where every Monday feels like a death sentence, with stress piling up like an avalanche you can't stop. You wake up in the morning already carrying the weight of the world on your shoulders, as if you were Atlas condemned to hold the Earth's sphere for all eternity. But here's the irony. The more you fight against that pressure, the more it suffocates you. Today I'm going to tell you something that can completely change your perspective. This isn't about modern relaxation techniques or those coaching tips that sound nice but don't work in the real world. We're talking about ancient wisdom, about philosophers who lived over 2,000 years ago and faced pressures that would make your toughest boss look like a lamb. The Stoics, those masters of mental control who perfected the art of staying calm in the midst of chaos. Marcus Aurelius ruled an empire while writing about serenity. Seneca managed Rome's most complex finances and remained unshaken. Epictetus was once a slave, then became a teacher, and he never lost his inner peace. If they could keep their composure under extreme circumstances, what makes you think you can't do the same with your job? In this episode, I'm going to reveal 3 Stoic lessons that won't just help you survive workplace pressure. They'll transform you into someone who thrives under stress. Don't miss the 3rd lesson because that one truly changes everything. And before you think this is just theory without practical application, let me tell you, each of these lessons comes with concrete strategies you can start using as soon as tomorrow. But before we dive into the content, pay attention to this story that will help you understand the transformative power of what you're about to learn. Once upon a time, there was a young executive named David who worked at a high-performance consulting firm. Every day was a roller coaster of endless meetings, impossible deadlines, and a boss who seemed to take pleasure in making his life miserable. David came home exhausted, irritable, with no energy for his family or himself. His health began to decline, his marriage grew tense, and he started questioning if it was even worth continuing down that career path. One day, while browsing the internet for ways to deal with stress, he stumbled across a quote from Marcus Aurelius. "You have power over your mind, not outside events. Realize this, and you will find strength." Something clicked inside him. He began researching more about Stoic philosophy and decided to apply its principles to his work life. Little by little, David began to change his perspective. Instead of reacting emotionally to every crisis, he started observing situations from a mental distance. When his boss yelled at him, instead of panicking, he reminded himself that he could only control his response, not other people's actions. When deadlines became impossible, instead of spiraling into anxiety, he focused on doing the best he could with the resources he had. The results were surprising. Not only did his stress levels drop dramatically, but his performance improved. His colleagues noticed his new calmness and began turning to him in moments of crisis. His boss, who once saw him as reactive, started trusting him with more important projects. David had discovered that true strength doesn't come from fighting pressure. It comes from finding serenity in the middle of it. The moral of this story is clear. When you change your relationship with stress, you change your entire life. And that's exactly what will happen when you apply these 3 Stoic lessons. Before we start with the first lesson, if you find value in this content, don't forget to subscribe and turn on notifications. Your support helps us continue creating content that truly transforms lives. Let's begin with the first lesson. The art of distinguishing between what is controllable and what is not. This is, without a doubt, the cornerstone of all Stoic philosophy. Once you master it, you'll feel as though a 50-pound weight has been lifted off your shoulders. Epictetus expressed it brilliantly. Some things are within our control while others are not. Within our control are our opinions, aspirations, desires, and the things that repel us. These areas are naturally free, unrestricted, and unobstructed. But here's the problem. Most of us spend 80% of our mental energy worrying about things that are completely outside of our control. You obsess over what your boss will think of your presentation. You stress about whether the company will make cuts. You agonize over how your colleagues will react to your new proposal. It's like trying to control the weather. You can waste all your energy wishing it won't rain, but in the end, all you'll achieve is frustration. The Stoics developed a mental technique that I'll call the control filter. Imagine that your mind has a filter that automatically sorts every situation into two categories: I can control it, or I cannot control it. Anything that falls into the second category simply doesn't deserve your emotional energy. You can take smart actions regarding it, but you don't allow it to rob you of your peace of mind. Let's apply this to your work environment. Your boss decides to change project priorities at the last minute. Category: you can't control it. The decision is already made. What you can control is how you respond. You can adapt gracefully, reorganize your schedule efficiently, and maintain a professional attitude. The difference is huge. Instead of wasting mental energy cursing the situation, you channel that energy into productive action. The company announces a restructuring and there are rumors of layoffs. Category: you can't control senior management's decisions. What you can control is updating your resume, strengthening your professional network, and making sure your performance is flawless. Do you see the difference? Instead of living in constant anxiety, you take concrete measures while preserving your emotional balance. A client complains constantly and is never satisfied with anything. Category: you can't control their personality or behavior. What you can control is how you handle the relationship professionally, the boundaries you set, and how you protect your emotional energy during interactions. To implement this lesson in your daily life, I suggest the control journal exercise. Every night before going to bed, write down 3 stressful situations you experienced during the day. For each one, identify which aspects were outside of your control and which aspects you could manage. Over time, this exercise will train your mind to make this distinction automatically. You can also use the reflective pause technique. When you feel stress starting to rise, stop for a moment and ask yourself, what part of this situation can I really control? This simple question will bring you back to the present and refocus your mind on productive actions instead of useless worries. The results of applying this first lesson are immediate and profound. Your anxiety levels will drop noticeably because you'll no longer be fighting windmills. Your energy will be directed toward activities that can actually produce positive change. And most importantly, you'll regain that sense of being the captain of your own ship, navigating with purpose instead of being dragged by the currents of workplace chaos. But this is just the beginning. The second lesson will teach you something even more powerful: how to turn obstacles into opportunities for growth. And believe me, once you master this ability, you'll see every workplace challenge with completely different eyes. Second lesson: transform obstacles into springboards for success. Do you know what the difference is between a person who breaks under pressure and another who thrives in the middle of chaos? It's not the absence of problems, it's the way they interpret those problems. The Stoics had a phrase that completely changed the way I view workplace challenges. The obstacle is the way. Marcus Aurelius expressed it masterfully. The mind that practices not retreating from anything can achieve anything. But let's be honest. When your boss tells you the project budget has been cut in half but expects the same results, your first reaction isn't exactly gratitude. When you're assigned to a dysfunctional team where no one can agree on anything, you don't jump for joy. When you're given an impossible deadline for a demanding client, you don't celebrate the opportunity. It's normal to feel overwhelmed, frustrated, even angry. This is where the magic of Stoic reframing comes in. The Stoics understood something most people never grasp. Every obstacle contains within itself the seed of an equal or greater opportunity. This isn't cheap positive thinking. It's a sophisticated mental strategy that requires training and discipline. Think of it this way. When the gym puts more weight on the bar, it isn't punishing you. It's giving you the chance to develop stronger muscles. When life hands you a more complex workplace challenge, it isn't torturing you. It's offering you the chance to build skills your competitors don't have. The project with a reduced budget forces you to be more creative and efficient. Those limitations push you to find innovative solutions you would never have discovered with abundant resources. The dysfunctional team makes you a better mediator and leader. You learn to navigate difficult personalities, and to find common ground where others only see conflict. The impossible deadline teaches you how to prioritize with surgical precision and work under pressure without losing quality. Every obstacle is a masterclass in disguise. The problem is that most people are so busy complaining about the teacher that they completely miss the lesson. Let's apply this practically. You're assigned a client who has a reputation for being impossible to please. Everyone in the office gives you their condolences. But if you apply the Stoic reframing, you see something entirely different. This client will turn you into such a solid professional that any other client afterward will seem easy to handle. They will sharpen you, teach you patience, and develop your ability to communicate under pressure. Your department gets reorganized, and now you have to work with outdated technology while other teams get the latest tools. Frustrating? Absolutely. But also a golden opportunity to prove that you can deliver outstanding results even with limited resources. That ability makes you incredibly valuable in any organization. The technique I use to implement this is what I call the archaeologist's question. Every time I face a workplace obstacle, I ask myself, what treasure is buried in this seemingly terrible situation? Without exception, there is always something valuable hidden. Sometimes it's a new skill, other times it's an unexpected professional connection, or a perspective that will give me an advantage in the future. I also practice the future biography exercise. I imagine writing my professional biography 10 years from now, and I see how each current obstacle becomes a crucial chapter in my development. That difficult period with the tyrant boss turns into the time that taught me mental resilience. The seemingly impossible project transforms into the challenge that showed me what I was truly capable of. The Stoics knew that adversity doesn't build character, it reveals it. But even more importantly, they understood that we can use that revelation to consciously strengthen ourselves. Every workplace pressure is an opportunity to discover inner resources you didn't know you had. Seneca, who managed the most complex financial crises of the Roman Empire, said, "Every new beginning comes from the end of some other beginning." When a workplace situation feels like the end of the world, it may actually be the beginning of a stronger version of yourself. This isn't about denying that obstacles are challenging or pretending they don't cause stress. It's about developing the mental ability to see opportunities where others only see problems. It's like having X-ray vision that can detect the hidden potential in every difficulty. This second lesson, once you master it, will fundamentally change your relationship with workplace stress. You will no longer fear challenges because you'll know that each one is making you stronger, more skilled, more valuable. You'll become the person others admire because you stay calm when everything else is falling apart. But wait, because the third lesson is the one that truly revolutionizes everything. It will teach you the secret the Stoics guarded as their most powerful weapon: how to keep your identity intact no matter how much chaos surrounds you. This is the lesson that separates true leaders from those who merely survive. Third lesson, keep your unshakable center, no matter the external storm. This is the lesson that took me the longest to understand, but once you master it, it feels like having an invisible superpower. The Stoics called it the inner citadel, that place within you that remains untouched no matter how much the outside world falls apart. Marcus Aurelius described it perfectly. Retreat into your own center and seek nothing outside yourself. But let's get concrete, because this isn't abstract philosophy. In your daily work, you are constantly bombarded with messages about who you should be. Your boss wants you to be more aggressive. Your HR department tells you to be more collaborative. Clients expect you to be more accommodating. Your colleagues want you to be more competitive. And in the middle of all those external expectations, you completely lose touch with who you really are. The result is constant emotional exhaustion. It's as if you were an actor playing different characters all day long, but never having the chance to be yourself. You wake up in the morning and already have to put on the mask of the day. In meetings, you are one version of yourself. With your team, another version. With clients, yet another version. By the time you get home, you're so disconnected from your true identity that you don't even know how to relax. The Stoics understood that true strength doesn't come from constantly adapting to external expectations, but from maintaining a solid, unshakable core. It's not about being rigid or inflexible. It's about having principles so clear and values so well defined that you can navigate any situation without losing your essence. Epictetus, who went from being a slave to becoming one of the most respected teachers in Rome, knew this better than anyone. It didn't matter if he was in chains or teaching emperors. His identity remained intact. His worth didn't depend on his title, his salary, or the approval of others. He had built an inner fortress so strong that external circumstances could not touch it. There you have them, the 3 Stoic lessons that can completely transform your relationship with workplace pressure. Distinguishing between what is controllable and uncontrollable, turning obstacles into opportunities, and keeping your unshakable center. These aren't just beautiful concepts. They are practical tools that have worked for more than 2,000 years. If you've made it this far, write in the comments, "I am stronger than I think," so I know you're ready to put these lessons into action. I invite you to subscribe and turn on notifications, because we have more Stoic wisdom to share. Remember, workplace pressure won't disappear, but now you have the weapons to turn it into your ally. See you in the next adventure.